7 reasons why you don't take your business seriously and why you haven't stepped into your business baddie era just yet. Today's episode is for anyone who is stuck in that hobby energy. And we sometimes have a hard time to accept and honor that it's what's happening because we want to take our businesses seriously. We want to be the real deal. We want to be that confident bad bitch, like I run my business in a soft feminine way for sure, but I want to feel legit as fuck, and we sometimes struggle to admit like where we are. So I want to remove all the guilt today and bring more context and texture and contrast to why we feel this way. I am not the kind of person who usually promotes that kind of thing. Like, I don't think you need to understand why you're acting a certain way or experiencing something in order to do something about it or change it if you don't like it. You know how some people, they get so stuck in being like, oh, I still haven't found why I treat my husband like shit, or why I'm communicating in this way, or why I have my money blocks. And they're digging and digging and digging for years trying to do the healing, and they're never going in the right direction because they're just using it as an excuse to not do the work and to not change a shitty behavior. That's not what we're talking about today, right? Like, we're talking about bringing enough texture, enough context, enough contrast for us to really understand why it is not our fault if we are being in that energy, right? If we don't fully take the business fully seriously. So let's talk about how it shows up in real life, like this hobby energy, so you can know if that's you or not. Because it can show up in different ways for different people. It definitely did for me, and it still does at times. For instance, when I woke up and I scroll Instagram for hours for inspiration, saving it into my folder for great copy, things to get inspired by, things I want to reproduce in my business. But then I actually end up just consuming content for an hour. And I kind of feel like I've done something, but I also did nothing. And then I get hooked and completely swallowed in the Instagram game. And then I send a lot of funny reels to my partner. Maybe it's showing up as like posting whenever you feel like to, whenever you're inspired. So maybe you're going to post like every day for a week, and then you're going to disappear for 3 weeks because something is happening. So you cannot bring yourself into consistency, and you feel like you cannot really show up. But again, we're going to talk about why later. So don't shame or blame yourself. Don't identify with it. It's not a problem. I'm telling you, it's not a problem. I mean, it is a problem, but it's not a problem. We're going to fix it together. You're going to know exactly why you do that, and then what you can do to stop being like that. So there is no shame or blame here. Maybe for you, the hobby energy shows up completely differently. Maybe it's just you being embarrassed or not knowing how to present your work to people exterior. You don't really know how to talk about your business to your friends or your family. Maybe it's because you don't see enough results yet, so you don't really want to talk about it, or you feel ashamed or embarrassed, or you just feel like it's a hobby for now and it's not a real job, and you're not legit enough because you haven't hit that income level or that kind of impact or success that you really want to have. And because you're not there yet, you don't feel legit. And so it prevents you from showing up and introducing yourself to people, saying like, hey, I'm this and that, and I do this and that. This is who I am. I own a business that helps people with whatever it is that you're doing. Or maybe it's just that your work time is done like on the couch in pajamas, like bouncing on and off Netflix, and then working whenever you feel like. You don't have like proper schedule, proper routines, proper dedicated time blocked for working on your business. You kind of work your business whenever you feel like to. Or maybe you're just multitasking, you're working while you're doing something else. Something that you wouldn't do if you were an employee at a 9 to 5. You know what I mean? Like, this is that energy of why would you do that when you're working for yourself if you wouldn't do it for someone else. For some people, it's a bit more subtle. They are showing up, they have a routine, they have a schedule, they are at their desk, they're focused, they're in work mode, but they spend hours and hours and hours and hours on Canva, tweaking their logos, picking different fonts, trying to make the branding perfect. It's Canva, or it's your website, or it's a form of that behavior, instead of actually selling your products, instead of actually doing the work that moves the needle forward. Other people, it shows up as not tracking expenses, not knowing the money. You're not tracking the money in your business that comes in and out. You don't even have a business account for some people. I know when I work with people in the early stages, it's just a mix with their personal finances and the finances of the business. Once they make money, they just spend it as personal expense. They don't have categories and a proper financial system in place. Usually those people, they don't even know if they're actually profitable. For other people, it's more like treating Instagram like your personal diary. So yes to personal branding, yes to sharing your story, yes to authenticity and vulnerability. But if you're just sharing your random thoughts, your food pictures, and some selfies with no strategy, just to display a vibe, or you call it branding, personal branding, whatever it is, but there is no strategy behind it, and probably that's a version of not treating your business seriously. Another way it shows up when you have a business that is already rolling well, but you don't treat it like a proper business, like something with boundaries. It's when you have weak boundaries, which means that if you're a coach like me, you take client calls whenever they want, like you just don't have really scheduled blocked apart time. You reply to DMs at midnight. People can reach out to you whenever they want. You said that you have a 24-hour service, or maybe you have a service in person and the appointments, instead of being 1 hour, are actually like 2.5 hours because you're just rambling and yapping, or you just struggle to really make your boundaries respected. That's also part of not taking your business seriously enough. A big one that is directly the symptom, like you can really see it, is if you're undercharging, or if you're offering like bunch of free stuff just to get the practice, or just to make people like attracted to you, or if it's not anchored in a proper funnel strategy to give something for free, to actually have a lead magnet, then or simply if you're undercharging, like you're not charging the price that you should be charging, and you should be charging that for the value that you're providing, then that shows that you're not treating your business like a proper business and a proper entity, and you're not fully into your badass CEO energy yet. Don't get me wrong. I think doing things for free to start and providing shitloads of value and over delivering and giving the best to our clients is such an amazing thing, especially for a certain industry where feedbacks are really important. Anything with like before and after, you need that practice, you need those feedbacks. It's a really good strategy to do that for a while and for a limited time. But if you're doing that again and again and again and again, it's just a lack of confidence, or it's just you being like, it's this little thing, my little business, I'm trying to get around with it. That's when you're like, okay, this is it, this is me. Or honestly, it might just be the fact that you are second guessing yourself all the time. Like you don't know how to make decisions of like, yes, I have my own back. This is my inner knowing as the CEO. Everyone is doing it this way. Great for them. But I'm going to do it differently. Okay, so those are the symptoms. This episode is dedicated if you have one or multiple of those symptoms, right? I had many for a very long time, and I'm still working through some of them because it's a conscious effort of reframing them. Something that really helped me, and that's why I really want to share it with you, is bringing the context around it. Basically, it's showing compassion for why we are the way we are and why this hobby energy is showing up anyway. Let's go over 7 reasons of why you don't take yourself and your business seriously, and why you haven't fully stepped into that CEO badass energy. The first one, if you scroll more than you create, let's remember the internet and those apps are literally designed to keep you consuming. They're not a platform for actually creating. I mean, it is, as you know, but if you're hooked into the app, you know how it turns out. The thing too is that this comparison that we feel on social media, right? We sometimes save up ideas for inspiration, but what we're really doing is comparing, even in a subtle way, even in a way that is not like brutal and frontal. Like we're not actually saying like, oh, she's like that and I'm like that. Like we're not thinking that we're comparing, but we're actually comparing at an unconscious level. Just know that it's just a survival response. Your brain is scanning, how do I measure up? This is like instinct. So there is nothing wrong with you. And also, we do that because we have never been taught how to trust our own ideas without checking outside first. Let me see if I'm normal. Let me see if I fit into the group. That's survival, and that's completely normal. And that's why I believe it's our duty as entrepreneurs, creative entrepreneurs, to spend time alone, away from the noise, so that we can regroup and trust the inner wisdom, right? This little voice inside of you that knows things because you just know them. You don't know how you know them, but you know them. And I'm sure that yes, you're learning so much, you're gathering information so much, but at the end of the day, you know, I know you know, and you know that you just know. You know what's right for you. You know where to go next. Not necessarily the whole plan, but you know what's the next step. You feel it intuitively. You have strong intuition. You can trust yourself. But we haven't been taught to do that. It's not natural. The second one is the reason for inconsistency or feeling flaky or like you cannot stick to one thing. The reason why you may feel inconsistent or flaky is because you're only showing up when you feel inspired, when you feel motivated, when you have this burst of energy, creativity, inspiration, pleasure, and like, oh my God, I want to share. Oh my God, I feel so like I feel the download or whatever. I get this. The thing with just showing up when you're inspired is that you will have time in life. It's unavoidable that you will have time where the motivation dips. And no one gave you a framework for showing up in those moments where motivation is not here. And it's not just about discipline. Yes, it's discipline and it's those masculine qualities that we need to cultivate in business, but it's also just the lack of framework, the lack of having someone that holds your hand in those moments where the motivation dips. Another reason for that could also be protection, emotional protection, because you're afraid of judgment. And if you are unconsciously afraid every time you show up, every time you post inconsistently, every time you go to post something, you expose yourself and your ideas and your vulnerability and who you are and what you believe in and your work and something that is important and precious to you, and you expose it to the world potentially, right? We're in social media, like everyone can potentially have access to what you're doing. But even if you are in a store and you're offering your products, like you're still showing it, being visible. So if every time it feels like an emotional risk, of course you're going to be inconsistent because your system is going to rebel against that consistency because you're like constantly putting yourself at risk. And another thing could be, this one I'm very familiar with, another thing could be that if you post consistently for a while and you don't see results, then your nervous system will associate consistency with disappointment. So unconsciously you try to avoid that. What helped me personally with consistency is just seeing that every single result that I got in my life is the result of some consistent action. If I get stronger at the gym, it's because I show up to the gym every day. Same in business, same in love. Like if I just showed love to my partner once, like I wouldn't have the flourishing, most amazing relationship with my man. If we want to improve our communication, we have to try it again and again and again. Like everything in life is about consistency. What you do consistently is the results that you get. The third one is if you avoid calling yourself a CEO, a businesswoman, a leader, a company owner, or just your title. Like you're not feeling comfortable really saying, I am Lika and I run a coaching business. If you avoid that in conversation, it's probably because society has made us feel that, especially women, it's true for both genders, but I feel like it's stronger for women. Society tells us that it's not a real job, it's not a real business until it makes real money. So there is something societal. When a woman is starting something, usually she's met with like, it's a cute little hobby until you reach a certain level of income. But another reason could be that you're scared of being judged and looking silly, looking stupid if it doesn't work. So you don't want to treat it as a real deal because you're like, if I invest all of my time, my energy, my money, myself, my dreams, my hopes into something and then it flops, then I will look so embarrassed. I will be so stupid. And that's a big fear that holds a lot of women back. And so I'm not telling you that you're going to be able to change it overnight. You have a lot of practices that can help you with that. For me, EFT tapping is one of the most powerful techniques to reframe a belief like that and to be able to step into a new identity. But it's deeper and obviously more complex than that because it goes through so many things. That's why in the work that I do with my clients, we have a whole pillar of my work, of my framework, of my methodology that is around what I called the big shift. The big shift is shifting into that CEO mindset. And it's done through a lot of rewiring your brain and your limiting beliefs and the things that are in the way of you stepping into that identity. But it's also done in a lot of embodiment practices, a lot of exercises, a lot of uncomfortable things that usually we tend to avoid. But at some point, if you really want to feel legit and move forward and create that next level for you, you will have to go through a big shift. And it feels good because then you feel like a baddie. Okay, the next one is the Canva logos and the rebranding all the time. It could be also changing your bio all the time. Like everyone has their own version of like busy work but empty work. I don't know how you actually can frame that and call that. But if you're spending a lot of time always rebranding, tweaking your logos, your colors, like being lost in that, like I get it. It's one of the most fun, exciting part of my job is creating brand identities for my products or for my brand. I have redone my website a billion times. I have changed my bio probably every single week I'm exaggerating, but I'm changing my bio quite frequently. So I get it. I get it, girl. And the reason why we do that is because it's safe. It's safer to be in your Canva app than it is to put yourself out there and sell your offers. Because selling is exposing you to rejection. Tweaking your website a billion times, not so much. It's safe, secure. That's why we do it. Another reason could be that we think, or we want to think, I don't know, that if we don't have the perfect branding, the perfect aesthetic looking brand, then we're not legit. Which is funny because then we don't take our business seriously until it looks a certain way, until it looks super polished. And we think that polished equals profitable, which is not the case. And I'm sure you know people in the industry now that really broke that rule. And I feel like it's shifting a lot. So it might not be really strong because a lot of people start to understand we don't need the perfect feed or the perfect branding, the perfect website. Like authenticity and connection sell a lot more. So maybe it's not as strong, but maybe that's also connected to an underlying feeling of feeling not good enough. So you're trying to prove yourself through a great design and a great branding. I don't know, just saying. And it's great. I think branding is like so exciting and so good. Just if you're lost in it forever, that's when it becomes a problem, right? The next one is about schedules and routines. I'm a full-time mom. My daughter is turning 1 next month, which means that I've been with her for a whole entire year since the day she's born, taking care of her, everything. Like I don't have a nanny, I don't get help. She doesn't go to daycare. It's me with my daughter. I have a partner, I have a house, I have some fitness goals. I am fully busy. But I realized when I just try to work when she's napping or at night and I don't have like time blocks for my work or dedicated days for certain activities in my business, like it's Thursday today, it's podcast day because every podcast is coming out on Friday. So I have a very short lap of time between recording, editing, and then posting it so that you get it every Friday. So I know how hard it is. I know that we don't want the structure because we also chose that for the freedom. We chose to be entrepreneurs for the freedom, right? For working whenever we want to. But the thing is, when we abuse that, we feel lazy as fuck because we are living life and then working around it whenever we want. And it feels chaotic and it feels like we're never going anywhere. And there are some tasks that we like more than others. We tend to prioritize those ones. But I don't know, Wednesdays are my CEO admin days. It's not my favorite days of the week, you know? Fridays are for creative work. I prefer Fridays, but I have to do some of the work, some of the organization that is needed. And it's not fun, it's not sexy, but I have to do it. It moves the needle forward. It builds a strong foundation for me. But the thing with structure and routine and not having one is a lot of people start entrepreneurship journey after the structure of the 9 to 5 or school, but this rigid structure that we reject, that we don't want to have. So the idea of discipline and blocking times and having a schedule and a little bit of that strictness feels a bit suffocating, which I get. I get it. I get it. But again, too much freedom, disaster. But also the reason why we have that is because we're afraid. No one has ever taught us how to build a system that really fits your feminine nature. So the only system and structure and routine and schedule that we know is a very strict, masculine, rigid, suffocating one. And probably you don't want to fit in that. So sense. But if you don't have any structure, any system that works for you, then you're so scattered and then you panic and then you're overwhelmed. The masculine is just here to hold you and support you. Or maybe the reason for you is just the same as me. It's like you're running your business inside an already full life. You have friends, family, babies, kids, a second job, and you just have to squeeze it in. So it makes sense why you would be off schedule. The next point is avoiding the tracking of money. So we talked about this, but maybe you're just all over the place with your finances in your business and you don't even have categories because you have all of this money healing to do. It's a big work to do. I've built, an entire program called Money Healing around just healing your money. There is also some practical stuff, of money organization because we have never been taught how to have structures and system around money and you're just left there trying to figure it out on your own. But the reason why we do that, usually it's because money has always felt like somehow shameful, taboo, or even just stressful, like just panic energy around money, like lack. And so that's why we avoid it. But that reinforces the fact that we don't believe the business is serious. And another reason why we don't have that sometimes is because we don't have the financial results that we want. So if you actually look at the numbers, it's also facing the failure or the perception of failure, and it feels way too uncomfortable, so you want to avoid it. And for other people, it shows up in a very funny way. It's because they have integrated this belief that talking or thinking about money is greedy, and that you don't do this work for money because you're passionate about it, or even that it's not like spiritual enough or deep enough or whatever blockages we have around money. That's why you distance yourself from the money conversation and you're avoidant with it. And let's talk about point number 7, which is undercharging and giving your work away. So this one is usually also tied to some money stuff, but it's usually also because we tie our worth to the pricing. So this is claiming this is what I'm worth. And when we have struggled with things around worthiness or really claiming that space, it can feel scary to charge a lot. So obviously there is some detachment to do with the pricing. It's just your offer, your service. I know when we're a coach, if you're a coach like me, like, yeah, it feels like it's us. We're selling us, because people have to like us to work with us. They have to vibe with us in a way. So we're selling parts of ourselves, but we have to remember that we're serving our expertise, and that is what the price is on, is the transformation you're going to get to your clients, the level of quality of your work, like how do you actually onboard clients, how you treat clients, how you are in integrity, like how you help them. All of that is contained in the price. I know pricing ourselves can be quite a challenge for a lot of us because we're going back and forth between wanting to charge enough to feel excited about our work and to actually access the bougie lifestyle that we want, but simultaneously we don't want to charge too much so that we cannot hold that thing and we feel like an imposter. And also we don't want to charge too low so that it feels like our work is not compensated, but we also want to bring it low enough so it touches the right people and, I don't know, offer payment plans or, money. Pricing is something that needs time, effort, energy, and work around, especially if we are inhabited with a lot of limiting beliefs around money, charging our worth. This is part of, again, the big shift, the identity shift that I lead my client through, because all of that needs to be worked through in order to find the right price. But I know for some people, it also shows up in a way of thinking that being accessible, like undercharging, will make people like them more. And because we're wired for connection and we're wired to seek love and validation from others, it's not a bad thing. We're just wired like this because we're poor little humans. It's not a big deal. We have to just learn how to work with it. It's okay to feel this way, But I know some people that's why they undercharge. They have this belief that they're going to be loved more. They're going to feel more connected. They're going to reach more people and it's what they want, without fully realizing that they're borderline undercharging. You can undercharge on purpose, with intention, with power, with choice of being like, this is a no-brainer. This is a steal. This is like crazy for me to sell that at this price, but I do it for my reasons. This is different, right? This is a different type of energy. I know also for people, especially in the coaching industry, I'm talking about my own industry, or anything that is a service-based, they're still wired on the 9 to 5 that pays per hour. So they charge per hour, not per transformation. But think about the work that you did today. There is a reason why you do this work. There is a reason why you want to share this expertise with the world, because it changed your life. Think about who you were before and how precious what you know now is. This is valuable, right? And it's not per hour, it's per transformation. I know it sounds silly and everyone talks about that, but just wanted to place it here. So that's it. We covered the 7 reasons why you don't take your business seriously and why you haven't stepped into your business baddie era just yet. That was just a reminder that it is not your fault. And it's okay. There is context and reasons why you're inconsistent, why you don't take your business seriously, why you don't track your money. There are reasons to it behind it. And it's not a way of just justifying why you do things what you do, but it helps you to see, oh, there is a deeper layer underneath what I do. It's not just because I'm a bad person or I'm doing anything wrong. There is a reason for it. To me, that helps me to move in the right direction. I just wanted to bring more context today because I feel like part of a good marketing strategy is to call things out, right? So we want to call those things out and to point that they are not ideal for the results that we want. Sure. But I feel like there is often a lack of context of why we do things that we do, and we need a bit more compassion around it. So I hope that was hopeful for you today. If you want to deepen that work one-on-one with me, it's kind of a secret because I haven't really shared it publicly, and I'm still like preparing for the launch that will happen in a few weeks. So it's like a top secret that is not a secret because it's on my podcast, but if you're on the podcast, you're one of my girly, one of the OG, like someone that spent time with me. So you have a special access because the 4 first will get the most insane rate ever to join Business Activator, which is a program designed to help you really step into that identity, take your business seriously, and take your business to the next level using a blend of feminine and masculine strategies so that you can thrive in your business in the way that feels aligned. We cover so many things, from identity and mindset work to building a business model that actually fits where you are at right now, to messaging. So if you want to join Business Activator or learn more, you just have to send me activate on Instagram and we will chat. And until next time, have a beautiful rest of your week, and I talk to you next Friday. 7 reasons why you don't take your business seriously and why you haven't stepped into your business baddie era just yet.